I'm here with Anthony the Genius Romero fighting Olivier Aubin-Mercier at PFL 6 next month. Not a fight I think a lot of people were expecting. This kind of took everyone by surprise. Just tell me how you got the news and your reaction to this matchup.
So I guess going back from February, we all know that I didn't get selected. Um, Nothing new there, right? Second time. But yeah, I did get selected, and I was supposed to be as like a replacement for maybe like a showcase bout, something like that. So it's just all about being patient, and not in a bad way, but hoping that someone would get hurt or not be able to make the fight, so I could step in. Um, I wasn't told exactly, but I feel like it has something to do with a bunch of the fighters getting popped. I think nine fighters, 10 now, got popped, so that gave room for me to step in, and now we're here. So
Well, I can tell you, I believe it's actually an injury in this case, because I did talk to OAM and he was told injury, and it came down pretty quick. Like you said, this is not your first time not getting picked. I mean, what's that like to you when you go out and you fight your heart out, you put on, what you think obviously is a great performance. Just how do you cope with that kind of rejection?
you still have the goal in mind. I think that's the I guess you can say the motivation that you have the goal in mind. You don't just stop because someone says no. All the greatest people in the world that has ever done something with their life have always ran into the word no and kept pushing forward, and something came out of it. So you got to keep pushing, and that's what happened. I didn't really do anything. I fought. I didn't get selected, and it's kind of funny because the same thing with the Contender series. I fought. I felt like I had a great performance. I didn't get selected, so when I tried, I didn't get picked, and I guess when I didn't try, I got picked. So
Well, it's good to see you in this matchup. Um, since they told you, you're going to be a replacement, maybe you think it's for a showcase fight. How did you handle that? Did you just stay ready in the gym, do what you always do?
oh, of course, regardless if there's a fight or not, I'm always in the gym. I'm always training, always trying to get better because with this sport, like you never know, like what happened now. There's big opportunities that can happen. People get the short notice for the UFC. I got the call for the PFL, so you have to stay ready. You can't get ready. So that's why I'm fortunate enough to have a great team behind me, helping me out, and always pushing me, and always having partners in the room to train with.
And when you do get the call this time, it's not for the showcase fight, it's for the champ. It's for Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and it's for the main event. I mean, what was your just immediate reaction to that?
Oh, I was so happy. I was so happy. A lot of people would like cower away and kind of like shy away about it. Like, oh, I got this guy. The guy won last year, and like all these thoughts. But I'm the opposite. I'm like, this is the greatest opportunity I could have to show my skill set against, you can say, the top guy, one of the top guys in the world. So I beat this guy. Like, I'm the new champ. I'm the guy that everyone wants to beat. And that's good. That's good for me, and this is the position that I've been fighting for many years, and I'm glad the opportunity finally popped up.
Well, like you said, if you beat him, it's a huge thing. And then the kind of elephant in the room is you do have a chance to make the playoffs. You do have a chance to move forward in the tournament, but to do so, you probably need more than just a decision. You probably need a finish. Does that factor into your approach to this fight at all?
My style is my style. I feel like I talked about earlier is like when I don't try, something happens. When I had my fight against Ken Glenn, I wasn't really, not to say I wasn't looking for a finish, but I wasn't forcing things. And then I get the flying knee knockout, best knockout of my career. So I'm not trying to do things, but I know things will happen, and I'm excited, and this is a big opportunity for me to take that spot, and I'm ready to go all the way to the top.
Now, I spoke to OAM just after this fight was announced, and he hadn't seen any tape of you yet. He still had to go and take a look and break some stuff down. Do you feel that plays into your advantage where you're a little bit under the radar and realistically the pressure might be on him a little more as the champ?
Um, I guess so. Like I'm kind of taking it as like a regular fight. Like I'm not too worried about what he's doing. He can study me. He can not study me. He can know everything about me. Doesn't really matter. I'm hoping that he's the best guy that I've fought so far. On paper, he is. But I'm hoping he gets ready so that after there's no excuse like, oh, I was hurt or oh, I took it for granted, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just excited for the opportunity. Like I keep repeating, and um, yeah, like I said, I'm not too worried about what he's doing. So
Now, when you were coming up, with Canadian MMA, of course, we had GSP, we had Rory McDonald, both retired. OAM's a guy who's been there for a while now from the UFC and now the PFL training at TriStar. Was he someone that you were watching as, you were starting out in your career?
um, I've seen him fight a few times in the UFC. I was actually there in Toronto when he fought. I think it was Gilbert Burns. So I know he's been around. I'm not ashamed to say he's a top guy in the world, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say he's no good. He's very good. And I think knowing that he is very good kind of boosts me up because I know I got to be top of my game. I can't be doing anything dumb out there. And that's when I performed the best. A Contender series, I know I was going as top guy. I performed the best. Same thing with the Challenger series. So like I said, I've seen him, and yeah.
Is there any part of you that kind of rolls your eyes when you find out that you get matched up with basically the only other Canadian you could possibly fight? Because there's you, OAM, and Julia Budd who's out of the equation. And this is going, oh, as a fan at least, oh man, they put the two Canadians together.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like I have no negative energy towards him or hate him or anything like that. That's the way the format is. I like it, I personally, because there's no guys that will be like, no, I'm not fighting this guy because he's not close to my ranking or like this would never happen. Well, so far, anyways, it would never happen in the UFC. Like I would not get signed to the UFC and be fighting Islam Makhachev. He's not going to say yes. He's not going to agree to it. And that's the thing that I like about this is everyone fights everyone. You're signed. You don't really get to say who you fight, and that's the way it is. Thankfully, it's not like someone like a close training partner or anything like that, because that would be weird. But no, it's all good. It's cool to see Canadian MMA rise to the top. Like two guys from Canada main eventing a big organization. That talks a lot about how Canadian MMA is going, and I'm happy to be able to showcase and perform for Canada.
Well, at least Canada goes home with a win here, no matter what happens. Um, you of course have Genius MMA that you run, and I'm curious how you handle that when you are preparing for a fight like this.
Dude, my mornings are packed. Like I'll be up at like 6:30 in the morning. I'll do my runs. I'll do my strength conditioning. I'll do my striking. Once the morning's done, like I don't have time in the morning. Like people ask me to schedule interviews and stuff. Like my morning doesn't exist anymore. It's done. And then at night, I'll train. I'll do my reps with like some of the rec students, which I think is important. You can't always go against guys who are top of the line, sometimes kicking your butt or giving you a hard time because you never try to work new things in your game. So I always train at my own gym as well at night. And yeah, I get my work in, regardless if it's all in the morning, at night. I'm training as much or if more than guys who are only fighting. So I'm happy with the way things are.
And then there's Niagara Top Team in the area as well, and I know you've were trained there too. Um, you've got Jasmine and Mike who are fighting at UFC 289 in just over a week's time. What's the atmosphere overall just been like with all these big fights coming up now?
Oh, it's intense. Every round means everything. Every minute, every second. There's no wasted time in the gym. A lot of people take these opportunities for granted, and they're like, oh well, I made it. I'm at where I want to be, and that's when things fall apart. Especially like these two getting ready for the UFC. They're on point. Their mindset's on point. Their physical abilities are on point. Um, and they're champions. They're champions everywhere. And I'm excited or I'm happy to be able to be in the same room as them. And like everyone is going up to the top. Like you said, Mike, Jazz, Aaron's getting ready for his Bellator fight. So everyone has fights in big organizations, and then people who are at the regional scene, regional organizations, they're on the rise too. Like they're killers, and just every round is tough in the room. So.
Well, it's very cool to see everyone firing on all cylinders at the same time, like you mentioned, Aaron Jeffrey as well with the Bellator fight coming up. I want to touch on something else that you mentioned early in this, just because it just came out that we did have the 10th positive drug test in the PFL from that stint in Las Vegas. You know, it's an interesting one because in the UFC or Bellator, someone gets flagged for a test, they get fined, they get suspended, they serve their time, they come back. In the PFL, there's kind of a wrinkle because of the point system. With Rob Wilkinson reportedly testing, Thiago Santos had also had a positive test, so that kind of cancels out. But in the case where one fighter gets flagged, I mean, what's your take on what should happen to his opponent who maybe lost the fight and didn't get any points?
That's interesting. It's kind of tough. Like I'm new to the system, and for me to kind of be like, oh, this should happen, that should happen. Like, I've heard people say like maybe the other person should get a point, but now we're getting to the part where both guys are getting popped that are fighting each other. So now what happens after that? Like, so it's a funny situation. It's disappointing. Um, you look up to these guys, like especially me, like coming up, like you look up to these champions, and you get these kids looking up at these champions, and you're like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be the millionaire champion. And all people talk about is, oh, hard work, hard work. But then you get people who are doing hard work, and it's really disappointing. As a person who takes part in the sport and a fan, it's yeah, like I said, it's disappointing. It's hard to find words to describe what it feels like, but I'm very happy with the way the way I'm doing things, and I have respect for the opponents that I fight who take the honest route and fight their way to the top, regardless if they make it or not. But they don't take that extra stuff that is not necessary. So yeah, very disappointing.
Well, I think you summed it up well with disappointing, actually. That's definitely the feeling. We've got the PFL talking to USADA. USADA has confirmed that. Is that something you think is a logical next step then?
Oh yes, like it's tough because it's and annoying too because there's so many ways. Like it's scary to hear about so many ways people are finding these loopholes, and I don't even know. It's hard to like even talk about what exactly people are doing or finding ways around it. But people always find a way, and it's annoying. Like why can't people just like take the honest route to the top, and like you feel so fulfilled when you actually get there, and you don't have to think on the back of your mind like, oh, maybe if I didn't actually do this stuff, maybe I could have still performed and done well. So that kind of haunts me. Like I would never ever in my life even think about doing something like that, because it's just like if I do get to the top, it's like why? Like you always have that creeping in the back of your mind. What if? What if? And then there's all these results that happen after to your body and people deflating, and like it's kind of disgusting. So yeah, disappointing again.
Well, hopefully it is smooth sailing from here on out. Anthony, I want to thank you for the time again today. I'll ask you for a quick prediction before I let you go. How do you see this fight playing out?
I love the 6 points. I know I'm gonna have to figure them out, but I say second round KO.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Anthony Romero versus OAM PFL 6. Best of luck in the fight.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.